Hi, today you will learn how to make questions in Korean using question words, such as where, when, why, how much, what kind of, which, who, and how. You will also learn how to combine them with prepositions. Where is the book? 그 책은 어디입니까? And how would you say, where did you buy the book? Pause the video and give it a try. So here you need to use the preposition 에서. From where did you buy that book? 그 책을 어디에서 샀습니까? Look at the word order in the first and in the second example. When there is no action verb in a sentence, put the question word at the end of the sentence. 그 책은 어디입니까? And if there is a verb in a sentence, then the verb should become the last word in the sentence. 그 책을 어디에서 샀습니까? Okay? And how would you say, where are you going? Here you also need to use a preposition. Pause the video and try to figure out how to say this question in Korean. You can use this sentence as an example. So you can either say 어디에 or 어디로. 어디에 갑니까 or 어디로 갑니까? Let's take a look at one more example about how you can use the question word 어디 with prepositions. How much have you done? Say you're working on a task and someone is asking you, how much work have you done until now? Think about how you can say it in Korean. You can use the preposition 까지. 어디까지 했습니까? The next question word is when. 언제. See if you can translate these two sentences into Korean. When is your birthday and when did you buy this? 생일은 언제입니까? And 이것을 언제 샀습니까? The pronoun your and you is often omitted in the Korean language. Most foreigners who learn Korean by themselves think that the Korean word for you is 당신, which is actually true, but you cannot use it here and there. Try to avoid using the word 당신 until you become good enough in Korean, because I hope by the time you will have enough knowledge about Korean and the Korean culture to figure out when it's appropriate to use the pronoun 당신, since 당신 can be used only in specific situations. Otherwise, you will sound very rude and unmannered. Instead of you or your, use the person's title or don't use anything at all. For example, if you're talking to a teacher and you're asking her, did you buy this book? The proper way to say it in Korean would be 선생님이 이 책을 샀습니까? Not 당신이 이 책을 샀습니까? Okay? Let's get back to our question word 언제. How do you say, since when have you been learning Korean? The Korean preposition for since is 부터, right? So, since when is 언제부터. 한국어를 언제부터 공부합니까? Or 언제부터 한국어를 공부합니까? And if you want to ask until when, for example, until when are you going to ignore me? 언제까지 저를 무시하겠습니까? Or 저를 언제까지 무시하겠습니까? The next question word is why. If you want, you can pause the video and try to translate these sentences for yourself. Okay, why me in Korean would be 제가 왜입니까? Why you didn't come yesterday? Here we have the particle not. So you need to use the grammatical construction 지 않다. 어제 왜 안 왔습니까? Or 왜 언제 안 왔습니까? The next sentence is why do you learn Korean? 한국어를 왜 공부합니까? Or 왜 한국어를 공부합니까? The next question word is how much or how many. In Korean, there are two words you can use to ask this question. These words are 얼마 and 몇. They are not interchangeable. They are used in different situations. Let's take a look at what situations you can use the question word 얼마. You can use it to ask about a price. How much does that bag cost? 저 가방은 얼마입니까? You can also use 얼마 to ask about amount of time left to finish something or reach a destination. How long does it take from home to school? 집에서 학교까지 얼마나 걸립니까? 나 is a particle that have a few meanings. We will cover it in the future lessons. For now, just remember that when you want to ask about how much time is left or how long does it take, you need to say 얼마나 걸립니까? Okay? You can also use 얼마나 for emotional expressions such as how much I missed you. 얼마나 보고 싶었는데요. Or it is so delicious. 얼마나 맛있는데요. And here are a few examples to show you how to use the question word 몇. It is mainly used with measure words such as age, years, months, days, hours, minutes, pieces, and so on. How old are you is 몇 살입니까? What time is it now is 지금 몇 시입니까? How many days is 며칠입니까? 며칠 is not a typo, it's an exception. This is the correct way to write 며칠, not this, okay? How many smartphones did you buy? 스마트폰 몇 대 샀습니까? 대 is a measure word used for devices and machines. We will learn more about measure words in the future lessons. The next question word is 무엇, which means what. There are in fact 4 different question words in the Korean language that in English are translated as what. They are 무엇, 어느, 무슨, and 어떤. Let's learn about them in more detail. You can use 무엇 to ask, what is this? 이것은 무엇입니까? And if you attach a preposition 으로, you will be able to make such questions as what did you use to draw this picture? 이 그림을 무엇으로 그렸습니까? By what means did you draw this picture? You can also attach case markers to this question word. What did you receive? 무엇을 받았습니까? So in this type of questions, use the question word 무엇. But what if you want to ask something like where are you from? Use the question word 어느. 어느 is used when you want to know which one among or between more than one option. There are over 200 countries in the world. So to ask where are you from, in Korean say 어느 나라 사람입니까? Which literally means what country person are you? And if you're asking about some specific feature, use either 무슨 or 어떤. These 2 question words are different and used depending on what you want to know. 무슨 is less specific, whereas 어떤 is used when you want to know more specific information. What book are you looking for? 무슨 책을 찾습니까? What kind of book you're looking for? 어떤 책을 찾습니까? Or what kind of person do you like? 어떤 사람을 좋아합니까? Here we ask about personality-specific traits of a person, okay? Let's take a look at the comparison table. These 4 question words in English can be translated with the same word, what. And this is where the confusion comes from. 무엇 and 어느 are the easiest to understand. Usually 무슨 and 어떤 are often get confused. So unlike these 3 question words, 무엇 can be used with particles, with both case markers, 무엇이, 무엇을, and prepositions, 무엇으로, and so on. Whereas 어느, 무슨, and 어떤 cannot be used with particles. They're placed before a noun. 어느 책, 무슨 책, 어떤 책. Now let's compare these 2 question words in more detail. 무슨 and 어떤. 무슨 is used when you ask for a not specific or less specific information when the object or an event is unknown. And if you want to ask about features, content, state, or characteristics of an object, use the question word 어떤. I agree, it might sound a little bit confusing, but the more you learn and see Korean texts, soon you will be able to distinguish one from the other without much difficulty. The next question is 누구 or who in English. Pause the video and see if you can figure out how to ask these questions in Korean. We put the question word who at the end, so we should start with that person. 그 사람은 누구입니까? And here, since we have an adjective smart, this adjective should be the last word in the sentence because in the Korean language, verbs and adjectives are placed at the end of a sentence. We should start with the question word 누가. 누가 제일 똑똑합니까? Who the most smart. And this is not a typo. This is how the question word 누구 is need to be conjugated in the nominative case. Many learners ask what is the difference between 누구 and 누가. 누가 is a contracted form for 누구가, where 누구 is the question word itself and 가 is the nominative case particle. First thing you should remember is you should never ever say 누구가 because it would be wrong. Instead, say 누가. And the second thing you should pay attention to is if you want to use the question word who in the accusative case form, say 누구를. 누구를 봤습니까? Who did you see? You cannot conjugate 누가 in the accusative case because in this case, you're going to have the same word 누구 in two different case forms, in the nominative case and in the accusative case, which is impossible and grammatically incorrect. And to ask who did you give that book to, you need to attach the preposition to, which is 한테 or 에게, to the question word 누구. 누구한테 or 누구에게. 저 책을 누구한테 주었습니까? And the last question word is how. It has a few variants because in fact this question in the Korean language is an adjective and adjectives can be conjugated. Look at these two sentences. The difference between them is that in the first example there is no action verb or an adjective, whereas in the second example we do have a verb to learn. So when we have a verb or an adjective in a sentence, use 어떻게, otherwise use 어떻습니까 or 어때요. And the difference between 어떻습니까 and 어때요 is the level of politeness, which we are going to learn in the next lesson. 어떻습니까 is a polite form and 어때요 is polite informal way to ask a question. There was pretty much information today, so it's totally fine if you could not remember most of it. You can watch the lesson again whenever you need. And this is the list of words we are going to be using in the next lesson.